I'm Rebecca of Pocketful of Posies. Today's project is one I'm very excited about, my Augusta Stays by Scroop Patterns and Virgil's Fine Goods. I actually ordered the printed pattern from Virgil's Fine Goods rather than the PDF pattern because I just didn't feel like printing and all that kind of stuff. I'm really excited to share my process of making them with you, so without further ado, let's get to it. Here we go! The pattern suggested a cardboard mock-up, so I gave it a try. I traced around my pattern pieces. I was really interested to see how this cardboard mock-up would turn out. Hercules was very interested in my mock-up. I think it's because he believes every cardboard box to be his domain. I got all of my pattern pieces cut out. Hercules came back to make sure I read the instructions. We got to work taping the mock-up together. I watched Remember When. It's my go-to background noise. Okay, so I did the cardboard mock-up. Honestly, it's hard to tell. It seems like it's too big. Now, technically, by the measurements on the pattern, I am larger than the measurements, but it seems like I have plenty of room. So what I'm going to do now, of course, this would be without any seam allowance. So I think it's too hard to tell with this. It's definitely too roomy up top here. However, I think I am just going to go ahead with a mock-up, at least a fabric mock-up. Just going to cut out all of the pieces in fabric and sew them together, because with all of the boning and everything and the seam allowance, I do think it's going to be too small. But with this duct taped cardboard, I can't really tell what it's going to be. So that's that. Mock-up with fabric time. I used canvas and cotton sheeting. To transfer the seam lines and my boning channel lines, I used carbon paper and a little thingy that came with the paper. I will link below, although be aware that it will not come out completely of fabric. Sloppy boning channel lines. Lovely. I went to the machine and sewed all of the boning channels. Hercules decided it was a perfect time to attempt ascending to the top of my armoire, but was thwarted. All of the boning channels were sewn and I started pinning the pieces together. I sewed them on the machine and trimmed around the tabs. Next, I poked some holes with my awl so I could lace it closed. On to boning. I inserted synthetic whalebone into the boning channels. I marked them so I could reuse them on the final stays. It's a lot of boning. The pattern calls for 20 yards, I believe. Okay, first mock-up. And considering I really didn't make any adjustments to it, I added a little bit of, I did a smaller seam allowance when I was sewing it on the machine than called for. I did 1/4 inch instead of 5/8. And I really think fit-wise, it's pretty good. The only thing right now, because I haven't attached the straps, this front is kind of just like falling forward. So I am a little concerned that the top is a little too big, but I can make an adjustment there. And also I think when I add the straps on, that's going to make a difference. So I'm going to do the straps mock up and then I'll just see from there how that changes the fit. I put straps on the mock-up and I think all I need to do really is, it's a little big in the top, so I think I'm just gonna take a little out on the sides here, just take the sides in a little bit, and that, if I do that, should, kind of hard to pinch here, it's got boning in it, but that should fix the fit issue, I think. So I think we're good, pretty good to go. All right. After consulting some costuming friends, I opted to redraw the top of the front pieces to make the place where the straps attach a little wider, closer to my armpits. I will also move the strap on the back where it attaches closer to the center back. My initial plan was for the blue cotton to be on the outside and the yellow striped linen to be on the inside as the lining. My interlining layers are canvas and linen. I transferred my boning channel lines, then repeated that on all of the pieces. I tried the wheelie thing, but liked the other thingy better. It was easier to control. At this point, I decided that I liked the look of the yellow embroidered linen for the outside of the stays. I next basted the layers together on all of the pieces. Next, I inserted boning into the boning channels, and I sewed these boning channels on the machine. To prepare the pieces for assembly, I turned the seam allowances to the inside. Then I whip stitched them to the inside layer. My next step was pinning the straps to the back, incorrectly. I caught the mistake and repinned the straps. To attach the pieces together, I quadrupled my buttonhole thread and whip stitched the pieces together on that folded seam allowance. Getting to the final steps now, I used my awl to make holes for lacing. I sewed the eyelets on the backs and fronts. Admittedly, I did a messy job. I got sore and tired and impatient, but honestly, I'm not a perfectionist by any stretch of the imagination, so I really didn't care. I can always go back and neaten them up later if it somehow starts to bother me. For binding, I actually ordered the wrong width of the linen tape I planned to use as binding, so I temporarily basted this white twill tape on. It should be easy to remove and replace later. Finally, I used a bodkin to lace the stays. I am so glad I finally committed to making these stays. I've had the pattern for a while now. The pattern was really good and easy to follow, and I definitely recommend it. I'm very excited to have this new important base for my Belle project. I can't wait to start working on the rest of the Belle costume and fit it over these stays. you so much for watching. I really appreciate you spending your time with me. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't. If you'd like to be notified whenever I upload, you can hit that little bell icon. And if you'd like to support the channel further, I have a Ko-fi account and that is linked down below. Again, thank you so much, and I will see you on our next sewing adventure. Bye!